Hello, everyone, and welcome to the CDO Magazine interview series. I am Adita Karkera, Chief Data Officer at the Government and Public Services for Deloitte. We're partnering with CDO Magazine in a series of interviews of government leaders. And today I have the pleasure of talking with Ren Essene, Chief Data Officer at the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Ren, welcome, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
So, Ren, I'm already really thrilled to hear everything that's going on with your work at the CFPB, but I also know that you're actively involved with the Federal CDO Council. So that is another hat that you play. So, if feasible, are you able to talk a little bit about what your role is with the Federal CDO Council and some of the initiatives that are happening there?
Great. Yes. No, the Federal CDO Council, I can't be a big enough booster of this effort. This was also born out of the Evidence-Based Policymaking Act of 2018. And so it requires that all federal agencies not only have a CDO, but that they sit on this Federal CDO Council. So that said, just because something is required doesn't mean that it's going to be good. But this has really become a great touch point for all of the federal CDOs to come together, to share information, to build together, to build playbooks, to share strategies, to bring in speakers. So I have found it to be incredibly valuable. As the CDO Council was stood up, I joined the operations working group, which was really set up to help stand up the framework for how the council would run. So there's other topical working groups that I and others participate in, whether that's around data sharing or data inventories. We also have small and large CDO committees, and so participate on those as well. So really, I think it's been a great and unifying and a great community of practice, really, for federal CDOs.
That's great to hear. I know when we were standing up the office of the CDO in my previous role, at that time we had the same need, like, hey, if we could have a community of practice where government CDOs could come together and kind of share the great knowledge that exists amongst the members, that would be fantastic. So it's so great to see the work that the Federal CDO Council is doing, and especially the work that you are leaning in and helping them drive as well. So thank you for sharing that. I know as we're getting towards an end of this session, I would like to pose you with an personal question. You've been a successful CDO, you've been with the public sector for a long time. For any new CDOs or budding CDOs that are listening to your interview, what kind of advice would you have for them, or maybe some key lessons learned during your tenure as a CDO that you would like to share with them?
First, I spoke about the value of the CDO Council, and what I would say to any new CDO is develop your peer relationships. Join a council of your peers or other formations that might look like that. Stay active, and that's where you're going to really be alerted to developments in the field. But that's where you can share notes, compare best practices, learn from others. I know, in our, particularly around the financial regulatory agencies, we get together regularly as CDOs. We share policies, we share advice. It's been really critical. So I'd say start there. And, in this day and age, there's so many more resources. I would say when I first got it started around that intersection of data and policy, I used to read the DEMBOK, right? And try to glean it for knowledge and information, right? But now there's communities, there's the MIT CDO IQ event. That's been, very successful and a great place to learn and be inspired and really help to build your strategy. There's, of course, the CDO Magazine, who's interviewing me now, and all the resources you can find here within the CDO Magazine. So, stay involved in your community, and that's really going to help you to grow and really understand what the best practices are out there. Second, I would say that, we are now in an information economy. So data is foundational to any organization. I don't care what it is, what your mission is, what your purpose is, data is foundational to it. And data really has the value to inform policy and decision making at your agency or in your organization. So you need to understand the needs of both your internal as well as your external decision makers who rely upon the data that you have in your enterprise. It's essential to making sound judgments about management practice within the agency, but it also helps to helps the public to have more transparent markets. So I think thinking about that, thinking about your stakeholders broadly is really important. And likewise, that also could help you to understand the related risks. And, I always say that understanding the risks of your data management, this is a team sport. Get to know your CISO, your privacy officer, your data operations team. You need to all work together. Lastly, I would just say that this role really requires you to wear a lot of hats. You're a data professional, you are a technologist, you're a change agent, you're a catalyst, you're a strategist, you're a subject matter expert. I mean, it can be a challenging but also very inspiring job. You're not going to wear all those hats well, so know who your partners are and where they're wearing the hat. And I would say, most of all, the most essential component is to be a catalyst. Build those relationships within your agency, and also between agencies, and that'll help you to be successful.
Excellent. Well, CDO as a catalyst. Thank you so much for sharing that, Ren. I know the audience here would love to hear more from you. So maybe in a few months, we might circle back with you and see how your data strategy efforts are progressing and what's new on your horizon. But for today, thank you so much for joining me, Ren, and sharing your perspectives. And for the audience, please continue to visit cdomagazine.tech for additional interviews with phenomenal government executives. Thank you.
Thank you so much.